Hey, good day, everyone. This is Russ Johns with Future Media TV, and I'm here with a very amazing individual, all the way from across the pond, Cathy Presland. And Cathy, thank you so much for being here today. It's amazing to connect with you on a different level than we're typically used to. And so, tell a little bit about what you're doing, what exciting projects you got going right now. And I know that it has to do with some writing, so maybe you could share some of the things that you're doing, and then we could talk about ideas, marketing ideas that work for you.
Definitely. So I'm here in the moment sunny UK, and I help people write mainly non-fiction books, but a few things around the edges of that.
Uh-huh.
Won't give you the long story, but I used to be an economist. I've done lots of kind of strategic things, worked overseas for years and years and years, and sort of evolved into writing, which I really enjoy. And I really love to help people with that whole process of just getting your stuff out there. And I know you do very much, Russ, the same sort of thing. Your mediums, video, live streaming, all of this stuff, which is completely new to me. So this is the first time I'm doing a blab. So there we go. Well, how's that for winging it?
Yeah.
And I mean, the exciting things, a lot of the things that I do, apart from the writing things, a lot of the things that I do revolve around online training. So I want to bring that up in the marketing discussion as well. But yeah, they're my two kind of things. And I do live workshops, but I'm here in the UK, so I know not everybody can get to my live workshops. But yeah, so all around writing, all around sharing your voice, sharing your ideas, really. I think that's where I see my specialism, is shaping those ideas into something that can then be shared and have some impact in the world.
Thank you. And Marion, good morning. You made it.
I made it. Modern technology, don't you love it?
You got connected. Fantastic. Now, have you ever met Cathy?
No, I haven't.
We haven't. Really lovely to meet
Marion, Cathy.
Hi, Cathy.
It's fantastic to get here. So Marion, good morning. We're just getting the show started, and Cathy was telling us about her writing and some of the activities that she has going. She has live classes. And also, Cathy, I believe that you are also very active in the Udemy community.
Yes, I am. I was one of I'm not normally an early adopter, as we can see, given this is my first blab. I'm not normally an early adopter, but I joined Udemy. I think now it is coming up for 4 years. I have been an instructor on the Udemy platform. And for those people who don't know, Udemy is a platform which retails video training courses. So if you think of Amazon selling books, Udemy is the equivalent, but they sell video training, and they've become hugely popular. I think it's very much democratizing that whole online learning, both from a learner's perspective in terms of what you can go on and buy, but also for those of us who want to share what we know and do, from an instructor. So yeah, long time Udemy instructor.
Fantastic.
You're an instructor on the Udemy software, or how to make money with Udemy? What do you do?
No. I sell my courses. I sell writing courses on Udemy. Yeah, no, I don't have. I often talk about how to. Well, some of the people ask me about a lot. Actually, is getting courses on Udemy, but I don't have anything to sell you about how to make money on Udemy. So I think there's that. When things start to get to a kind of meta level of somebody does something and then they teach you how to do the thing that they've done. So I think I'd just rather stay at the thing that I like to do, which is helping you get your ideas out there. But I'm always happy to be asked about Udemy because it is very interesting, I think, and it's something that
it is interesting. I mean, online learning, that's it's on demand. I love it.
It's huge, and we huge. It a lot.
Getting bigger.
Yeah,
it's huge and getting bigger. Yeah, it is not going away.
So I know one of the questions that Marion would love to ask, and it's all about, one of the show series that we have, Cathy, is focusing in on what marketing ideas work for you. And I get the sense, having conversation with you, that Udemy has been very useful in producing exposure in the market. And how is that accurate? And how have you been developing your marketing plan otherwise?
Yeah, well, it was the thing actually that I thought I would focus on, not specifically Udemy, but just kind of retailing in general, because not kind of knowing exactly who's watching and what sorts of questions people have got, and obviously post them in the chat and we'll take them. But I kind of get to a point where like my real love is it's the creation, it's the ideas, it's the content. And there's a big overlap with marketing because, marketing is just sharing, I think. But at a certain point, I get like I have too much marketing, and it's not the thing that really most excites me in my business. So what I've discovered over the years is that there are ways that you can do the things that you really love to do. And for me, that's mainly teaching. And people will find you. And I know a lot of marketers say you have to put your stuff out there. You have to be the one who's either actively promoting or advertising or, chatting on social media or networking or all of the kind of traditional marketing things that we do. But I actually think there is a real role for being paid effectively to market your business. So we talk about content marketing,
I like that.
Blogging and videos and all the kind of free content marketing. I think it's like well documented and tried and tested. But actually, I think there is a level that you can go beyond. So writing books, creating online training courses, anything where there is a market of buyers and there is a marketplace. So what I really enjoy is sharing my content, paid content. Some of it's free, some of it's paid, but mostly paid content, sharing that content on a platform where I can send my followers, but also people will find me who don't know about me. So to me, that is, obviously it's sales and it's income and it's revenue, but to me, that is also marketing because new people are finding out about me. They're getting to know me, they follow me. And then I might have other, I've talked about workshops, I've talked about some of the other things that I do. People find me in all sorts of different ways. And I think those retail platforms, it's so strong and it's so powerful because you have paying customers and those paying customers really get to know you. I have conversations with people that email me, I really closely get to know people who've maybe just bought a $19 course. So yeah, that's my big tip.
So that's interesting, and I really appreciate your feedback on that because it's so. What I hear you saying is that everybody that's giving away free stuff with the hope of selling something, it's not necessary, and you've proven that you can actually charge for your work.
Straight to sale.
And your material is still out in the marketplace getting exposure from people that are paying for it.
Yeah, precisely.
And Marion has a question. I know.
Of course I do. I've got like 100. Are you kidding? Russ, let me talk.
She's going to put the tape over Russ. You need to be in the same room so you can put your hand over.
Yeah, so I can kick him right under the table.
Need the
Okay, so Cathy, so this is so exciting for me, right? Because we always are talking about getting our message out to the world, and we need to share it so people can see it, right? So what I hear you saying is that by being on Udemy, they do most of the marketing for you, so you can just do what you do best, which is creating good content, and then people find you, and then they share you with their friends and things like that. Yeah. Do you place your material anywhere else? Like, do you have it for sale on your website, or do you use other platforms?
Yeah, okay. Well, there's two things. So I will say it's not as simple as just putting your content on you. Yeah, I mean, let's kind of be realistic. I've been on Udemy now for a long time, coming up 3.5 years. Sorry, I've got a furry friend in the office here.
Aww,
so I have, I don't know whether it's fortunate. It's just experimentation. It's just the luck of the decisions. But because I have been there, because I've been there all of that time, obviously I have got, I've got a long record, and I've attracted students that buy often 3, 4 more of my courses. So if somebody who's completely new, who has no following, no email list, no social media, they could go and create a course. They could put it on Udemy tomorrow, but it's still a little bit, they still need to have a strategy behind how they're going to market that, how they're going to bring people to the course, because the platform is getting so much bigger. There are now thousands of instructors. I believe there are tens of thousands of courses. So it's becoming very much like Amazon, where you have to have a strategy behind launching your book. in the same way you can be a bit more strategic about launching your course. But it's absolutely, the principle is the same, that somebody buys something from you, low priced product, they're not necessarily investing hundreds or thousands, it's tens of dollars. Like we would just go and buy a book by an author we didn't know. We'd have a look at it. We'd have a look at the reviews. Always a few free preview videos. The same way you can flick the book open, you decide if it's for you. So, but it does work. Udemy advertises. They do massive amounts of retargeting. So if you've browsed around Udemy at all, you'll suddenly notice all over the internet, you'll start to see ads for the courses that you've been browsing. So I can send, for example, I could tweet out something about one of my courses. Somebody who follows me may be curious about it, goes and has a look at my course. They decide not to buy. They'll actually be continually targeted by Udemy. Or they may look at my course and actually then go and look at somebody else's course in a related area. People who bought this also bought the same sort of thing that Amazon does, and then they'll be retargeted for somebody else's course. So it's not just about my stuff. So Udemy do marketing, but obviously it's not as simple as just put your course up there and then and then everything's gonna. And I've forgotten the second half of your question now. Can you remind me this? Because that was the first.
Do you use other platforms?
Oh, do I use other platforms? I'm yes and no, because I've got courses on Udemy and because I've got quite a lot of students, there are lots of these platforms springing up. Well, have been springing up over the various years. Usually my reaction is to say thanks, but no thanks. There is no exclusivity with Udemy, so I don't have to say no. I could experiment with all of them. In general, I don't, although Russ knows, I just a couple of weeks ago put my very first course with a platform called Skillshare, which is very similar. They retail video training courses, a slightly different business model. On Udemy, students buy a single course, just like we buy a single book. On Skillshare, it's a subscription model, so something like Netflix, Kindle Unlimited. You pay a monthly subscription and you have access to all of the courses on their platform. So I've tried Skillshare. In general, I'm kind of I like to focus on a smaller number of things. That's my preferred approach. I would rather go deeper with something, continue to develop my relationship with the students on Udemy. I've got a good relationship also with Udemy as a company, and that that's just my personal preference, the way I like to do business. I'm very much a relationships person, so it suits me to have kind of fewer relationships, but relationships that go deeper. But there's no restriction. There's no restriction, Marion. Somebody put their courses on 10 of these different platforms, and it would be it's a way to just reach more people.
And you're really teaching about authorship.
Yeah.
How to write better, or how to get the book out, or
so mainly writing courses. My most popular course is my shortest course, which is a series of just very accessible, practical non-fiction writing exercises. And then I've got some self-publishing material. I've got a little bit of marketing. I don't talk massively about marketing, but I've got some content around email marketing. It's sort of beginner stuff. I don't do a lot of the advanced, very techie stuff. And then I've got a new course, but the course that I launched on Skillshare, I'm redoing also for Udemy. So I've got a new course coming, which is also about writing. It's going to be focused on how-to writing. You might be able to hear the scrabbling in the background.
It's like, Mommy, I need your attention.
Mommy, I need your attention. I know. Apologies.
Oh, no, it's okay.
That's the beauty of Blab, though.
Yeah.
We're just here having a great time, having a good conversation about what we're interested in doing.
That's right.
So Cathy, tell me a little bit about, your focus. It sounds like one of the things that you've mastered among many of us entrepreneurs that have, that dilemma of, shiny object syndrome, like me, is the fact that you've been able to focus on these very narrow niches in writing and helping others write better. So who would be an ideal candidate to reach out and take a look at your Udemy course? Somebody that's never written something, somebody that's got a bunch of pages and needs to really tighten it up, or somebody that's written books and just needs to improve? I mean,
well, all of those. I think for the writing, it's somebody who, actually, I was doing an exercise on this recently. I was looking at who the students are who are buying my courses, what are the courses they're buying, so I can get a bit of a clearer picture, research basically.
Right.
And I have one, the course that's most popular, and I think because it is very general, is aimed at people who, this is all non-fiction writing. So this is aimed at people who maybe want to start blogging, or I imagine most people have an aspiration to write a book at some point, but it's probably not the thing they're going to do next week. It's something that they just want to improve their writing. They maybe feel in a bit of a rut, or they're not in a habit. You know, we all get a bit stale. We all think, oh, I should be writing every day, but I don't. It's just to kind of re-enthuse somebody. And in the kind of enthusiasm, I've built in some very skill-based tactical things. So it's not overtly saying, I'm going to teach you these, 3 skills. It's actually saying, let's have a bit of fun. But I know the way I've designed the exercises is that the students are also gathering skills as well. So that's my most popular course. And I have had people, I look at the reviews and, the kind of messages that I get from that. And actually, I know that there are people who are also experienced, who are maybe just looking for something a bit different, and just to, we all like to practice and play around with the craft, and just to take ourselves to another level. So although I designed that with the beginning writer in mind, or at least I don't consider my audience necessarily writers, the beginning entrepreneur or the blogger or the coach or the consultant, somebody who's not primarily a writer but wants to write, that's really my target audience. So although I designed it with that person in mind, I know from the reviews that I have people who say, oh, I've been writing for years and I just wanted to do something different, and I've really enjoyed this course. So I also pick up those people as well. Yeah, and then I've got more advanced material on writing a book. I do a little bit of coaching, not very much, but I do work with people on their non-fiction books. So obviously that's somebody who has probably, again, they're not a writer, they're not going to make a living from writing necessarily, but just people like us, people who want to write a book, they've got a business, or they've got something they want to share, usually a little bit more established, and they want to start to do more speaking, or they want to bring people back to their coaching practices. They want people to find out about their products and services, and they're ready to write their first book or their second book. So, I have more advanced material. That's not all on Udemy, but I have more advanced material, and a lot of that I do live because it's more specific to the person's book.
So what about Mark? Go ahead, Marion.
I really can understand the angst that a lot of people have when they are told by their coach, or they know because they learn from the internet that they have to write. They have to take their business now and write some tweets, and they have to write some blog posts, and they're not a writer. They have no idea how to write, and they go searching for somebody that can help them pull the information from their head onto some kind of a platform or some kind of a Word document where people can actually get the information that they have in their head. And so I'm so glad that you have these courses to help them. And I'm glad that they're able to meet you right here on our show, because I know that when people get to know you by actually seeing you on video, it's totally different than seeing you on a website that's flat.
Yeah. I know. And actually, in terms of marketing, I know your big focus is marketing, but most of the marketing I do is really in writing. I don't do YouTube. I don't do a lot of videos. I get interviewed a lot. I'm like the person
on video though. So thank you for being on the show. I have a question. What are 3 writing tips that someone like this crowd could use immediately to think about improving their writing? Do you have any tips, real world tips that we can activate start improving?
Always full of real world tips. So the first thing I think is think about your writing as a conversation, is the first big tip. So a lot of us when people first start to write, they think, I've got all these ideas in my head. How do I express them? In some literary way, or how do I make them sound effective? But it's not about, I've got my furry friend again pestering me. Basket. He's called Rowley. Let's not start calling his name, or we'll be having him up on the table. He's Rowley. So the first thing is it's a conversation. That's the first thing. So if you imagine yourself in conversation, I think pretty much anybody, I'm going to be bold here and say anybody can have a conversation. They can meet somebody at a business networking event. They can sit down over a coffee or a beer or whatever is your pleasure, and have a conversation where we ask each other questions, we find out things about each other, and that's my first big writing tip is that it's exactly the same. It's a conversation between you and the person who is going to read it. So imagine yourself talking to somebody. So that's my first big tip. A second big tip is don't try to write, everything all at once. So if somebody is thinking about a book, even if they're thinking about a blog post, it's like one of those disaster YouTube things, isn't it? I can see he's only got what do they call it? I don't know. The kids watch these outtakes from YouTube videos. We're going to have a whole computer in October. But so the second big tip is really restrict your time. I was going to say chunking, but that implies kind of content. So don't think today I'm going to spend all day writing on my book. Think I've got 10 minutes and just write. Just really, really go for it. Keep it short. Keep the time really, really tight. Mm-hmm. So think of it as a conversation. Keep it really, really short. And the other thing I think, specifically a tip for people writing books, I think, rather than writing anything, is this is just your first book, or I guess you could say this is just your first blog post. And again, another real challenge that I see a lot of students, a lot of people who come to work with me struggle with it, is that too many ideas. So they get to a kind of paralysis because they're trying to get all of their ideas either into a book or even sometimes in a blog post. I see it as well. Somebody actually submitted a guest blog post to me, and I was talking to them yesterday, and there were actually 3 ideas in this blog post. I mean, it was really well written. She had really strong content, but actually it was potentially 3 blog posts. So I cut one piece out and I sent another piece back to her and said, actually make this a second post. And, and I ended up with 2/3 of the material and was able to expand it a little bit. So that's the third tip, I think, is just think about the thing that you're focusing on now. Write that. And if it's a book, if it's a post, if it's, your idea on Facebook, kind of one idea per publication, whatever that is. And then you have your next book or your next blog post. We never run out of ideas, but don't try to get all of your ideas into.
Oh, that's hard. Yeah. How do we do that?
Yeah. But the thing, Marion, I think is just recognizing that actually this is just the piece you're writing now, and accept that there's. Because especially with books, I know not everybody's going to be writing a book, but I see it so often with books is we have got decades of, not just years of experience, we've got decades of experience. And that's very typical. People come to me, they've got decades of experience and they're trying to get everything into a single book. And that book's going to take you the rest of your life to write. And frankly, people don't really want to read huge, enormous life stories of everything that happened to you through your, especially with business books, we want something that's relatively short, relatively focused, an accessible read, and then produce the next book. So, yeah. Oh. I'm going to go and open the door.
Back. Gotta go to the bathroom, man. Let me out.
Oh, this is great, Marianne. This is fantastic. So it's amazing to.
Yeah, Cathy.
There we go.
Cathy, Russ and I both have this conversation every single week. I won't say every day, but every single week about focusing on one thing at a time. And it's hard for entrepreneurs to do that because we're wearing so many different hats. But in marketing, in creating your content, in developing what you're going to offer, it doesn't matter what it is. If we think about it one thing at a time, we can complete that and then move on to the next. It's so much easier. And if you focus,
it's so much easier. But I mean, we're creative. I have ideas all of the time, and it's so much easier to see it in somebody else. I see it in my clients, and I know I make those same mistakes as well. But if you, exactly, it's exactly that, Marion. If you have one idea, you can complete it. So if it's a book, you can finish the book rather than having 3, 4, 5 books that actually don't get finished. So finish one,
Right.
and then you still have time to write the next one. Nobody's saying don't write the other 5 books. We're just saying, do one and then do the next one.
That's right.
Well, and break it off in chunks. I like the idea, and that really kind of helps tune my brain in. Break it out in smaller chunks, so you don't have to think about a marathon at that time. You just have to think about, okay, well, what do I need to do now? What's next, and how can I put this in place? So it's very fantastic to think about that. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
So Cathy, I just went out and grabbed what I could. I have authorunlimited.com as your website, and at Cathy Presland for your Twitter handle. How do you like people to get a hold of you?
Through the website, actually. Okay. I'm quite happy for somebody there's a contact form on there so people can contact me. Okay. If you're going to contact me on Twitter, tweet me at Twitter. I have to say I've given up with Twitter messages because I don't think I've read one that wasn't just an auto response. But just mention me on Twitter. I'm also there as well. So ask me a question or say hi, or I'm very accessible. I'm very easy to find, and I'm also on Facebook as well. I'm probably slightly more present on Facebook. So I've got Facebook, Twitter, and the website. And I don't do LinkedIn or Google. But I have profiles, but I'm never on those places. So again, focus.
Narrow down. Keep it.
Yeah, I don't do Pinterest. I don't do Instagram. I'm just in 1 or 2 places, and I'm quite happy with that.
Snapchat participant.
Yeah. I think maybe it's a cynicism that I've seen these platforms come and go is also part of it as well. So part of it's strategic, that I'll wait a couple of years and see whether it's really going to be established. But then if something new comes along, I was a very early adopter with Udemy. Yeah. A couple of things do come along where I, will get really enthused about it. And there's actually another platform I'm not going to talk about because it's a bit of a secret at the moment, but there's something else that I'm going to be creating some training for. But again, that's a new platform, and I'm eager to be part of it. So it's so for me, it's about choices, and I don't say that just kind of to share my story, but also for people listening, that choose carefully. And when you're going to choose, whether it's whatever activity you do in your business, whatever marketing you choose to do, then really master it and go with the things that enthuse you and excite you.
So outside of your Udemy training and some of the courses that you operate, do you have any recommendations for where people can share their written word, whether it be on a blog or places like Medium or guest post?
Well, I think because of that conversation we just had about marketing platforms, I think you should always have your home base. You should always have your own website. Yeah. But I really love Medium at the moment. I think there's some fantastic writing on Medium. Some really, really, really strong writers. Medium would be a place that I think is a fantastic place to share your writing, to get noticed. I see a lot of if you are in the kind of, certain segments, maybe slightly sort of the medium, larger size companies, if people are working with those, LinkedIn Pulse, but make it original. I would say I could easily put my blog post on LinkedIn Pulse, but I don't. It just feels like if I was going to do that, I'd want to rewrite the idea. So LinkedIn Pulse is in terms of marketing, some posts really take off. But I really like Medium at the moment. That's my favorite.
I love reading Medium.
Place to go as a reader.
I'd like to read.
Yeah, I love Medium. It's great. It's some great writers, and you can browse around and explore and find people. And I really like it. Yeah.
Well, I know that you're busy. You got a lot of things going on. Any last questions, Marion, that you want to?
No, I'm just happy to meet you. Russ talks about you all the time, so I'm just so glad we got a chance to get to know each other better. I can't wait to get some of your courses on Udemy, and I love Udemy, and I look forward to continuing our relationship on Twitter, Facebook, and and maybe, who knows, your new platform.
In person, who knows?
Hey, yeah.
I'm coming to I'm coming to San Francisco in June, so I would expect. I don't want to promise. I will promise, but I will have some sort of meetup, I imagine. So any West Coast friends, I know you guys are in Texas.
When are you in San Francisco?
End of June, 20th to the 26th.
I'm at the 1st of June, so.
Dang
it. All right. Well, hey.
So sometime that week there'll be a San Francisco get together.
Yeah.
With whoever can make
it. Week. So.
Yeah.
Future Media Association, Future Media TV. I'm Russ Johns, and my wonderful host, Marion LaSalle. We're always here every Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 Central Time. And we'd love to have you join us, ask questions. We always have wonderful guests like Cathy today, and enjoy the conversation. Cathy, thank you for being here so much. And until next time, enjoy your day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Russ.